Hey everyone, Alex Talander here, and welcome to our bonus content as we work on putting Ostium Season 6 together. We're continuing with our Behind the Ostium series as we go in depth with the making and discussion of how each episode of Ostium came to be, as well as much more. I am joined by Dwayne Farver, a big fan of the show and creator of the spin off podcast Manifestations. If you enjoy the Behind the Ostium series, you can get full access to over 50 episodes right now by supporting Team Ostium on Patreon at patreon.com/ostiumpodcast. You'll also get access to a bunch of other bonus content on there too. Once again, that's patreon.com/ostiumpodcast. We'll continue working on getting Ostium Season 6 ready for release in 2022, but for now, sit back and enjoy another episode of Behind the Ostium. Okay, episode 15, Colombia. So I knew this was going to be a time to visit somewhere in Jake's past. And by Jake's past, as we've done before, I'm going to pull something from my past. So this was set in the town of Colombia in California. Wait, I got a little summary I did here before I wrote the episode. Something from Jake's life. AT&T Park, which is the, now it's actually Oracle Park, which is where the San Francisco Giants baseball team plays. Something that ties in with Jake again, and through a door, he's able to see a view of his office building. Is a reckoning where he learns what's been happening to the world. Ends with a State of the Union with Monica and how he can't go on. It's an old west town of Colombia that Jake visited and stayed at the hotel once with his last serious girlfriend. In various rooms, he is confronted with terrible events happening on Earth, as well as apparitions of the blackness. So Colombia is definitely a real place. You can Google it, Colombia, California, and it's literally set up as like an old west town that you can visit with all the different stores. Still in my head, Columbia Kate's Tea House, which I never actually went to, but I remember Googling as I was writing the episode to be like, well, let's find a real place that's there. So that definitely exists, as well as the like Emporium and places like that. The actual hotel that I've referenced in the episode is real, and I did stay there with my wife. The reason I made it creepy was because we stayed there on I want to say it was like a Thursday night. It wasn't a weekend night, and because of that, it was like empty. And we were like the only people there. And it was only like a 5 or 10 room, because it was like two hotels. There's a main hotel they described in the episode, and then like a southern kind of part of the hotel, which is on a different part of town. So you go to the main hotel, pick up the keys and all that stuff, and then go to that part. But I remember us doing it. Again, it was like, maybe a Friday night, but it was no one else there. It was really quiet, old, creaky. There were some people around the town and stuff like that, but then come nightfall, it was like just us and the town and the crickets and whatever else was going on. So, unsurprisingly, it made an impression on me. And I wanted to use that as a place of Jake's past that I could write a lot about and feel a lot of ties to with Jake. And again, making it be something with a person he cared about, having connections with that, and then a chance to play around with ghosts that I've done a little bit of before in previous episodes. I really wish we could redo this episode with our sound guys redoing it, because I know it was just crappy with the ghost sounds where I was just like, let's see what's on the sound, what are the sound archive, pulled up these ghost sounds and just kind of cycle through them. I thought it came out okay, but I knew it could have been better. But also playing around with, I remember stuff where wanted to make it kind of like a horror game type thing where you're coming down a hallway and you got to check every door to see what's going on, and then to have the shower with the weird sounds going on, unexplained noises, the ghosts and things like that, and then having Jake look through that window and see his office building, which I think if Monica had seen that, she would have just lost it. If an ordinary person would have seen it, it would have been too much for them of just like breaking the reality barrier. Whereas for Jake, it was, oh, okay, I know this. This is Ostium familiar. I've been there, done that, whatever. It was, we didn't have a great time there, whatever. But I know this is part of what Ostium does with me and stuff like that. So there is still this connection, and it's kind of going to be okay. But then we continue going through each of the rooms after that, things getting freakier and freakier until they have to, put the last, as I recall, I think it's the artifact is it broken? Is there two pieces to it? Do you remember, Dwayne?
I'm not positive. I
I think it was
broken.
the ones where it's like two parts of the O, I want to say, and I can't remember if they were broken and they stuck it together. I think it was something like that. And then they had to run away to get out in time before the ghosts of the darkness got them. There was also some play with one of the ghosts Jake could tell was his ex-girlfriend, and it was me playing around with the idea that an old hotel, there's been hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have stayed there over time, and they've all been at different times, but sometimes those times can cross over. There's the idea that, all these different people have walked these different floors, and sometimes the band of reality gets thin, perhaps, and he could see his time when he was there with his girlfriend and see that kind of crossing over a little bit there. So it's just showing a little bending and warping of time and reality, which is always fun to play with.
No, that worked well. I liked the way that it played out in the story, that at first you really weren't sure. And I don't think at the end we were really sure, but was she really a ghost, or was it like a time echo, like you're talking about? And then with, Jake getting grabbed, things like that. So it worked. And
then as we'll get to when we talk about the final episode, but it was me seeding stuff here with the strange sounds and the water sounds and things going on, that when I got to starting to write the final episode, I'd be like, oh, wait, I have all this stuff kind of seeded throughout these episodes that I can kind of use to explain why I did that. So it was kind of fun, not knowing at this point, and then coming back to it later on with our final episode and being like, oh yeah, I put this stuff here conveniently, and now I can use it and explain why these sounds are. I definitely know I was pulling as well from an old show that's now been redone that I really enjoyed called Unsolved Mysteries. There was a lot of kind of weird, creepy, unexplained stuff going on. We don't really know why.